Will you welcome, please, Yoko Ono. Yoko, please, now. You're very welcome.
Well, thank you.
This is not your first time in Ireland, of course, is it?
No.
When were you here before?
I think about 7 years ago in Belfast.
In Belfast, and before that?
That was it.
That was it.
This is my first time in...
in the Republic?
Yes. What?
In the Republic of Ireland. This
Yes,
is your first
yes.
time. South of the border. You're here on a particular mission, which we'll talk about in a moment, but I know you've been busy all day. I heard you went to a school in Sean McDermott Street in Dublin.
Yes,
What
it was
happened?
beautiful. It just choked me up because it was so beautiful and the children were singing Imagine. But it wasn't just singing Imagine. They were very creative in presenting their own idea about imagining too. And it was fantastic.
I know you're here for the Amnesty, the Art for Amnesty exhibition, which opened last evening. You were the guest of honour at the Royal Hospital in Dublin. And I think we should show our viewers some of the pictures.
Oh.
We have our own special sort of curator to do it for us on video, and none other than Edge from U2. And this
Yes.
is what he told us and showed us today.
U2 have been involved in Amnesty really since the very early days of the band. Amnesty is dedicated to human rights, as everyone knows. And why it particularly struck us at the time that this was an organisation that we should really get involved with is, if you think about art, if you think about songwriting, painting, literature, one of the things that's so essential, it's almost the oxygen of any artist, is the freedom to express themselves. Art for Amnesty is an obvious thing, it's again artists who survive on having the freedom to express themselves, coming together to make some works, generate interest, generate cash hopefully, and this will be the first of many such exhibitions around the world. But it's a particularly Irish initiative headed up by Bill Shipsey, and we're really hoping that this is going to get the ball rolling. There's going to be a lot more of these all over the world.
Fabulous pictures. Fabulous pictures. How did you become involved in Amnesty, Yoko?
Well, I was always feeling that Amnesty International was very, very important, an important organisation. And also, all of us individuals are trying our best in our own ways. But still, when it's an institution like that, it's very powerful. And they make us come together. And I thought it was very, very interesting that not only that they were just plainly raising money, but they involved us artists into it. And I'm very thankful that they did that.
Of course, your fame as an artist is well known, but you might not have been an artist. You might have been a pianist.
That's true.
Many people know about your life since the mid-60s, but not too many people maybe know as much about your childhood. What sort of a childhood did you have?
Well, I don't know if we should get into that.
No, I was just thinking it was a privileged childhood, for instance.
Well, yes, it was rather privileged. And also, my father, I think he wanted me to be a pianist. But I was not very good, very good in playing piano. Around when I was 14, I heard my father speak to my mother in the next room saying, oh, she's not going to be one, so just let's forget it. And I thought he was right.
And he was right, so you did not pursue that career.
No.
But the kind of Japan that you grew up in, and the kind of class structure that was there. You were a privileged little girl, weren't you?
Well, in that sense, well, I mean, I don't know how privileged I was, but I mean, yes, well, they call it a privileged class, but when you're actually just a child in the middle of all that, it's just a bit sort of scary and frightening. And also, you know, you're always taught that you have a responsibility to be right and all that. And, you know, it's very, the weight is heavy on you, actually.
You did kick against that, of course, ultimately.
Yes.
But you lived through the war. I mean,
yes.
the bombing of Tokyo happened when you were living there.
Well, you know very well, yes,
yeah.
That's true. What happened was, well, I was a war child, just like John was, and John was a war child too. And that was one of the connections, strong connections that we had.
It's ironic, you know, you were bombed by American B-29s,
yes.
and then you go to live in America.
That's
I mean,
true.
was that some sort of a contradiction that you had to learn to live with?
No, it wasn't really, because my family was going back and forth to America and Japan, even when I was like 2 years old or something like that. And so I was going back and forth. So when the war started, I happened to be in Japan, and I kind of missed my friends in America, and I knew that they were very human, nice people that I knew there. So it was a conflict in that sense.
Now, you as an artist, you were at the very beginning of this conceptual art movement, isn't that
yes.
so?
Mm-hmm.
And what sort of things did you do at the time?
Well, I prided myself, and I'm sure that most avant-garde artists did at the time, but prided myself in being able to express myself by not using ordinary methods. And it was quite exciting, you know, to just find different kinds of ways of expressing yourself. Yeah.
You didn't go down the road of, you know, painting a canvas that was representational. That was not your thing at all.
Well, I did paint on canvas, but what I did was I made the shape of the canvas irregular, and also usually you just stretch it on the frame, you know, which I didn't do, so that it was like cut and the strings were all coming down, and it was just beautiful in that. Well, I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of reputation did you build at the time? Were you well known?
In the avant-garde circle, yes, I was pretty well known. Yeah.
Now, when we moved to London, I can only imagine what London in the mid-60s was like. It must have been a crazy place, wonderful place.
It was beautiful. And I didn't know that. I was in New York, and somebody from England came to interview all the artists in New York. And I was interviewed too. And then this person was just saying, oh, look, you know, you should come to London. You should come to England, because it's very exciting now. And it's called the Swinging London, etc. And I said, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that keen on going anywhere else, because New York was really happening.
Sure.
But then things happened, and I just, well, I was invited to Diaz, which was Destruction in Art Symposium.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not, you know? So I went to London, not feeling that it's going to be that exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it was the excitement of my life, probably.
So when
Yeah.
you met John at a subsequent exhibition of yours. But he was a bit of a yob at that exhibition, wasn't he?
No, well, I felt that the first impression I had of him was that he was a very, very attractive, beautiful guy.
Guess what? He was, 26, 27 at the time?
Would he be 27 maybe?
Yeah, yeah. Young guy, in the prime of his life.
I didn't think he was young or anything. I just thought that he was beautiful.
Beautiful. But one of the things he did at that exhibition I read about, that one of the exhibits was an apple, a real live.
Oh, and that I didn't like at all.
What did he do?
Well, you know, first of all, I thought, oh, this very beautiful guy, and then suddenly he grabbed the apple, which was...
This is an exhibit.
It was an exhibit, you know,
Yeah.
and it was on a beautiful pedestal and all that. And he just grabbed it and he just took a bite out of it. And I was thinking, I was very kind of upset, but I didn't want to show that. But I think I showed, I mean, I think it was obvious.
Yeah.
So he just went and just put it back again.
And is that where Apple Records came from subsequently? You know,
Well,
the apple with the bite out of it.
Possible.